Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your Monday morning espresso shot. I hope all of you are doing really well. And it's a wonderful Monday morning to do this every Monday. So let us begin. Let us place our awareness in the area of the heart. Begin to take slow, deep breaths. And visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would, and just settle into your body. Oh, wonderful. And just keep your awareness in the area of your heart. Your heart is the engine that controls 90% of your automatic functions in your body. 90. So by doing this heart-focused breathing technique, you are actually affecting most of your automatic bodily functions, which means your digestion, your enzyme production, your hormone production, your digestive systems, everything that you need for your body to thrive is being controlled, facilitated, inspired by placing the awareness in the area of the heart, taking slow, deep breaths, visualizing these breaths flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining me this morning for that I didn't know that moment. And let us explore the notion of overcoming challenges. You know, HeartMath folks did a study. They did a study where they actually showed the perception of our challenges, perception of how people perceive challenges. So they were aware of a study where an individual who stood in front of a huge mountain to climb up that mountain, or a big hiking trail with a huge hill, and they asked that person to rate the difficulty of that particular journey. And then they put a backpack on that person and weighed it down a little bit with heavy things, and of course, as expected, the difficulty increased in their mind, in their perception. Then something interesting happened. Is they put a friend beside that person, a friend with the heavy backpack, and asked each of them how difficult is that climb, and both of them rated the difficulty less than if they were alone with a backpack by themselves. So why is this an important notion? Why is this something that is important? Well, frankly, the reason it's important is because there is there is something in when we say to ourselves that we need peers, we need people to help us, encourage us, people who we trust. And so if you are trying to break a habit, if you are trying to get into a physical activity that you haven't and you don't feel like going anywhere, then having a friend makes that journey easier. I was hiking yesterday. It was kind of gloomy and rainy outside. So a friend and I decided we were going to go hiking a few days back when it was truly sunny. And when we decided that, on Sunday, which was yesterday, it started raining. So if I didn't have this friend of mine to go with, I would have canceled my plans. But in the end, we both went hiking, and it was beautiful out there. It was cool, but it wasn't very wet. But in the end, we hiked for 2 hours, and it was good for our body. So hiking with a friend, and it was not an easy hike. It was a moderate hike. So That is something that HeartMath folks found, and now they're suggesting the deep connections that we have with each other allows us to navigate through life relatively easier than if we were alone. So what does this mean for all of us here? What it means for all of us here is what we need to do is if we need to assess our relationships with each other. We need to assess, are these friends that we have in our lives, are they encouraging us? Are they motivating us? If they are not, then you need to assess the type of friendships you keep and how you can shift that. And one way to do that is to actually find somebody who shares your interests, your passion, and begin to thrive with that individual. You will both be better off for it. And so this is much like if you're quitting smoking. You want to quit smoking with a friend. If you're quitting drinking, same thing. If you've got certain addictions that you want to overcome, do it so that a friend has your back, and do it with a friend who trusts you. That journey becomes a lot easier and a lot smoother. So I would love to hear your comments on this, and share with me your thoughts before we so at the end of our 5-minute quick coherence technique, you can tell me all about if you've had any challenges in your life and how that challenge can be made easier to overcome with a friend beside you. Great. Let us now begin the next segment of our Monday morning espresso shot. So let us place our awareness in the area of our heart. Take slow, deep breaths and visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And now begin to experience a positive feeling. A feeling that creates love, appreciation, gratitude, peace in your heart. Just bring that emotion forward. This is a technique that you want to use every day for 15 minutes. And if it's difficult for you to remember to do this, it's certainly not a difficult technique, but it's difficult for you to remember this thing. Find a partner. Find somebody that you can do this with. If I didn't have all of you in my life right now, listening to this live or in replay, perhaps I myself wouldn't be doing this breathing technique every morning at 9 o'clock on Mondays. So I have you to thank for being my partner in this. We're all partners with each other on Monday morning at 9 o'clock. And we show up because we know the other person is going to be there. And I want to share with you how much I appreciate this. That every Monday morning I'm reminded that I have a set of friends and community members and family waiting for me to share this experience with. And that gives me a positive feeling that I hold in my heart. So continue to take the slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart, breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. And attempt to experience a regenerative emotion, compassion, gratitude, Slow, deep breaths. Visualize these flowing in and out of your heart. Breathing a little slower, a little gentler than you normally would. If you are connected to nature, you can experience that right now, sitting where you are. Just experience it, bring it forward, hug a tree in your imagination, in your mind's eye. And just experience nature in your imagination and bring that experience forward in your heart. You are affecting 90% of your automatic functions in your body by doing that. That feeling of peace and connectedness. Slow, deep breaths. Visualize them flowing in and out of your heart. Wonderful. Thank you so much for spending this morning with me for a few minutes. Appreciate that. And I'm just going through the comments here. Time for Q&A. If you have any questions, by all means, let's ask those questions. I had Michelle ask the question. My experience was sometimes it is not easy to find a friend to do things together. True enough. Michelle, what I would suggest to you or anybody else on this call is that there are groups that meet that have specific interests. Like there's a group called meetup.com, and I'm going to type that email address here, or sorry, the website. Okay, and you should see this. This is there's usually one in your neighborhood, an activity group organization that if you love going hiking, you can sign up for hiking groups. If you love going to the movies, so whatever interest you have, find a group that's open for people to just join in, and you will meet strangers, but they will soon become your friends. So I have my own group that's based out of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and I have workshops once in a while, and most of my workshops are free, and people attend. And I made some very good friends that I still keep in touch with by doing that. So if you don't have a group that you like, create one. It's not that expensive to create your own group. So Michelle, I would suggest that you do that. I have another comment from Nancy. Nancy says that when my dad was ill 6 years ago, it was very helpful that my best friend had gone through the same thing back in 2000 when her dad was ill. Both dads declined over several years, which was extremely painful for us, but we had each other. We had both gone through the same thing and could relate 100% the way no one else could. Absolutely. You know, there are two aspects to what you shared with us there, Nancy. Two aspects. One is you have a friend who you could lean on. That's the important concept today. Today is that makes the journey less onerous when you have a friend you can lean on and they can lean on you. The second thing is that makes it even more important is that that friend has gone through what you're going through and has understood, can understand you very quickly. See, sometimes people say things, and that was my one of my espresso shots, I think a week ago, where I said people who are going through sadness, the other people who are trying to comfort them don't say things that are helpful. You know, they minimize or it without really meaning to minimize it. So in your case, you have somebody who completely understands, and you know what, that makes your journey a lot less onerous. I mean, you're still going through pain, I completely understand, but you've got a friend where it makes it bearable. So that's a fantastic example, Nancy. Wonderful that you have somebody to confide in and to move forward in life with. Similarly, things that are not as sickness and illness is one thing, but it's very important because I have a client who formed relationships, and this is the watch out part for you, Nancy, and everybody else, who has formed because she's a healer, she's formed the relationships based on somebody who needs something. And so if somebody needed something, she poured her heart and soul into that relationship, and that person truly appreciated, but it was a one-way relationship because the other person was not a healer. And so when the healing was done, when that person moved to the next level, they had nothing to connect with. So if you're connecting with a friend, and I'm not saying, Nancy, that you are, but if you're connecting with a friend out of a need for just connecting because you want to help them and serving because it fills your serving need, that's not really what I'm talking about in terms of overcoming challenges to improve yourself. That's what I'm talking about, is when you actually want to run a marathon, for example, or you want to begin to go to meditation or do anything that's self-improvement. That is where you find somebody who has the same interest. And the most optimal state is that when you have the same interest, you're not, it's not a lopsided one. You're not always dragging the other person down, You're both kind of encouraging each other and making sure that both of you are on an equal level playing field. Those are the kinds of relationships I want everybody to actually pursue, and we all need to pursue that because that is a relationship that you want to have to move forward in life. Thank you so much, Nancy and Michelle, for your comments. Really appreciate it. Anar, thank you for your comments. Anar says, my experience having a friend to lose or control my weight was amazing. Trust me, it is very challenging to lose weight when you're aging, but having a friend and encouragement was helpful and rewarding. It also made me accountable to my friend and myself. Absolutely. Having somebody to call you on your things and you calling them on their things. And, that's important. Anar, thank you so much. That is a very healthy way to grow as a person and overcome challenges. So thank you so much for your input there. Wonderful. So we're getting the idea about relationships with others, deep connections, and you see how you perceive life differently when you have somebody who's got your back and you have their back. And it's an equal relationship where you move forward together. How wonderful. So I don't see any other comments coming through. Thank you so much for your participation today. And we will see you next week, Monday. Take care.